What was that? Quite literally, man. What was that? That was insane. And what I'm referring to is what just happened here behind me. South Carolina, this has been easily, I think, look, I've only covered this team on the full-time beat. This is my first full year of covering this team on the full-time beat. You know, last year was 5-7 season. Not a lot of craziness, kind of just a lot of down moments. But you know what, man? This season has been unlike anything I've ever seen, just in college football in general. But from a South Carolina Gamecock standpoint, I don't think the script writers for the football gods, whatever it might be, I don't think you could have drawn up a crazier season for this football team, just the way games have gone. And tonight might have taken the cake for most insane, wacky, wild games of the year. And I feel like I've said that a lot this season, but that is especially true tonight. After number 21 South Carolina, which will be moving up in the rankings come Tuesday night with the college football playoff rankings, beats number 23 Missouri 34-30 right behind me here on Saturday at Williams-Brice Stadium. And look, I'd love to go ahead and break down the entire game from start to finish, but be honest with y'all, that's probably not going to happen tonight. So I apologize in advance. However, I will do my best to break down the final few minutes of this game. And then tomorrow on Sunday, when I go live for GC Live Sunday Reset, I'll have a lot more fleshed out thoughts from the entire game as a whole. And then obviously throughout the week on 107.5 The Game. Now let's get into the action. Final minutes of this game, South Carolina's up 20. I can't even remember the score at this point. Well, the point is South Carolina's up 21-6 at the half. They're rolling. It looks like they're going to pull off a win. Even in my head, I'm like, all right, Missouri's done. They're cooked. It's over pretty much. Like, boy, was I wrong. I think a lot of people were wrong too. Missouri in the second half, give them a lot of credit. They came from behind, not once, but twice. They took a 22-21 lead. And then when South Carolina was leading 27-22, the Tigers came back and took a 30-27 lead. And it was just, I mean, look, this game was quite literally on drugs, man. Like, it was insane. The biggest plays of the night in those final few minutes. Number one, Lenore Sellers. We'll talk about a lot about him here in a second. To break out of a potential disastrous sack on third down in his own territory that would have set up 4th and long. South Carolina would have had to punt. He breaks out of a sack and finds Brady Hunt for a first down. Massive play. That's only play number one of what we got to talk about. Dale Von Campbell makes a pair of huge catches. One of them puts South Carolina in the red zone near the goal line. And just a few minutes later, Sellers finds Michael Smith, another unsung hero from this game. That is a common trend from tonight. The amount of guys from this game that just stepped up when you haven't really seen much of them this year, and they make possibly the biggest impacts on the game. Then after Missouri takes back the lead, because the plays I was just talking about with Michael Smith scoring the touchdown, that made 27-22. And then Missouri scores on a Luther Burden touchdown. That guy's insane. Missouri just had a really good night in the second half, and it's like, all right, it's 30-27. They get the 2-point conversion. I mean, it was like a minute left, and you're like, how is South Carolina even going to do this? Like, granted, they had all 3 timeouts, and they were playing well throughout the night, but the offense wasn't doing anything in the second half that made you feel like, oh, man, they're going to go out here and do this. They can do it. Like, yeah, they had one great drive right before, but it's like, can they do it again? And they did. That's the craziest part about this. Again, when you needed your guys to step up the most, they did. And none other than Rocket Sanders scores what would be the go-ahead touchdown on a 15-yard play that was just, it was crazy. It was the shovel pass that you saw in the Alabama game to Oscar Attaway that worked so well. You pulled it out again tonight. And let's just also say, this whole touchdown drive that ended in Rocket's touchdown with 15 seconds to go doesn't happen without Juju McDowell and Nick Harbor running the reverse to get South Carolina into decent enough field position to start their final drive. And it goes back to the Lenore Sellers, man. 350 yards, 5 touchdowns. I know people are probably going to want to talk about the interception he had and some of the other things. Man, who cares? He had such a good game tonight, and South Carolina does not even have a chance to win this game without the heroics from their redshirt freshman quarterback. He is growing each game. He's only getting better, and this is only his first year as a starter. South Carolina is going to have him for a few more years. And that's the scariest part about all this for other teams out there, is that they got to go ahead and find a way to defend this guy. It's crazy. So, look, and the final play of the game where Jalen Kilgore, who had just gotten beat by Luther Burden on the go-ahead touchdown moments earlier, comes away with the game-sealing interception with the 34-30 lead on Brady Cook to end what was a wild night here at Williams-Brice Stadium. So again, South Carolina picks up a 34-30 win over the Missouri Tigers. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, look, this was just a snippet from a footnote of what this game was tonight, because it was pure madness. We'll talk more about maybe the playoffs, what's going to happen with that. I know people are going to be like, oh, there's no chance. But, like, man, have you learned anything about this team if you continue to count them out? They don't quit, they don't give up, and they prove people wrong. That is the story of the 2024 South Carolina football team, without question. So the Gamecocks will be back in action next Saturday for Senior Day, as they'll take on the Wofford Terriers right behind me here at 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus / SEC Network Plus. I'll have all coverage from that game and so much more to come. And it is going to be a crazy week talking about this game, what it meant, what's to come, because you have a feeling that South Carolina and Clemson, they both should win their FCS matchups next week and go into the final game of the year at 9-2 and 8-3 respectively, with a chance for so much on the line. It's going to be nuts. So next time you'll hear from me will be tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., GC Live Sunday Reset. I'm going to have a special guest that I'll reveal later on joining me on the program tomorrow. And then we'll be on 107.5 The Game on Monday to break down so much more. So be sure to stay locked into GamecockCentral.com for all live updates and coverage throughout the rest of tonight, tomorrow, you name it, we got it. So if you're not already, this is a perfect time to go ahead and subscribe to GamecockCentral.com as well as our YouTube page, and go ahead and follow us on all our socials. So reporting live from Williams-Brice Stadium, I'm Jack Veltri.